On this lesson, I'm going to teach you a way to achieve a similar effect without owning a tablet. So if you don't own a tablet, you could go and make a brush and try to achieve the similar effect. So to do your own brush, what you are going to do is go here in your tools panel, and probably by default you're going to see this rectangle tool, but if you click and hold that click, you're going to see the rest of the shape tools. And the shape that we're going to use for this is going to be the ellipse tool. So you can click it here or press the shortcut L on your keyboard. Once you have that, you're going to click and drag to create an ellipse. And in this case, I want to create a circle. So I'm going to press Shift while I create my ellipse so I make a perfect circle. Now I'm going to make it around this size. And I'm going to swap it so I get a fill and not a stroke. And now that I have my circle, all I want to do is select my direct selection tool by going here or pressing A on my keyboard. Go here to this anchor point that is on the right, click on it and drag it to the right. I'm going to be pressing Shift while I do this, so you can see how I can only move on one direction. And I'm going to make it probably around there. I'm going to scale this up a little bit so it's not that big. And I think for now this shape would work because it is using the same principle that we were using with the Blob brush. We're going to go from a thick area to a one that is not that thick, that is actually very narrow. So to create your own brush, all you have to do is have your brushes panel up, your brushes window open, and if you don't see it here for whatever reason, you can go here to Window, Brushes, or you can press F5 on your keyboard. Once you have this open, I'm going to select this shape that we just created, click and drag it on the brushes. And when I do that, you see how this window appears. And here it's telling me to select what kind of new brush type I want to create. You have some options, but for now we're going to create an arrow brush. And I'm going to hit OK. And when you do that, a window like this is going to appear. And in here you can name your brush. So for example, I can name mine like Blob, because it's going to be trying to imitate that effect. And here you can select different options to scale it proportionally, to stretch it to fill the stroke length, which is actually what we want, because we want to stretch that shape that we just created to fill whatever line we create with this brush. So we're going to select that, and you can select here the direction. So for example, for the case of this, we're going to go from thick to thin, but you could also invert this one, and instead of going like that, you could go from thin to thick. I'm going to actually leave it like this, from left to right. And now it is very important that if you want to work on this tutorial, as we are going to be using the Blob brush, it is important that you can change the color of your brush. So to do that, you're going to go here to colorization, and here you have a method, and you have several options to pick, but for now you're going to pick the tints. And what it's going to say is that this key color, that is a black, is the one that is going to be changing. And I'm going to hit OK. And once you do that, now you can see that here you have your Blob brush. And just so you can delete this shape because you're not going to be using it. And you can go to your pen tool or press P on your keyboard. And then let's make a line that kind of resembles this part of the elephant. So something like that. And I'm going to make sure that instead of a fill, I'm going to have a stroke. And you can see how you have a line. So we're going to select this one and apply this Blob brush that we just created. And you can see that it is doing what we wanted. It's going from something that is thick here, because this is where we started, to something thin here. But it's actually too thick. So we're going to go to the stroke window, and you can find it here. Or if you don't see it, again, remember that you can go here to Window, to Stroke, or press Ctrl F10. And once you have this one open, you can change the weight to something around, I think probably 0.5 would work. Or maybe something even, yeah, I think 0.25 is better, because this is not that thick. So remember, you can go to your direct selection tool or press A on your keyboard and adjust this line until you have something that you think would work well. So in the next lesson, we're gonna work on making the outline of this elephant with our brush that we just created.